A really good buying opportunity in a down market would be to look at new builds.
New builds,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. So if you think about, if you're buying off the plan, so
Yeah.
you settle on a purchase price today of 750,000,
Yeah.
that property is not going to be built for another 9-12 months time, and we would hope in that time that the market has picked up and what the property is worth come settlement in a year's time is hopefully going to be more than what you paid for it today, and that's just instant equity, right? So
Yeah.
definitely something to consider, I think.
But a lot of people actually, I'm sorry to contradict you on that one, a lot of people actually, by doing that, because the market has come down so dramatically and so rapidly, they actually got hurt from that process. Did you ever need to get someone out of a jam like that?
Yeah, good point. There were a few occasions where someone had bought for
900,000.
Yeah, and then when they come to settle it, the bank wants their final valuation and it's only worth 850, and they've got to bridge that gap somehow.
Yeah.
If you're a first-time buyer, then that's definitely going to be a bit of a pickle for you. You're probably not going to have much, any more savings left up from the deposit that you initially paid.
Yeah.
We didn't see it that often, to be honest, but there definitely were a few occasions, and you make it work.
Yeah.
Whether that
one way or another.
Yeah, yeah. And there is a solution to everything. That we did have a client. It wasn't one of mine, thankfully, but I know one of my colleagues had a lot of sleepless nights, and they had considered every scenario to get this girl out of the pickle. She was short of about 30,000, I think. Which for her was a significant amount of money in a first-time buyer. But if you're an investor and you've got 2 or 3 properties with equity in them, or you've got other kind of assets, then there's probably an out there somewhere. But I don't think we're going to see the same kind of drop in the markets in the next year or 2 that we have seen already.
Yeah, I do want to talk more about new builds. Not so much buying off the plan, but the huge supply that we have in the marketplace right now. Even they try to flood the rental market with new build as well, and there are a lot of new build that's still sitting on the market. I think there are potentially a lot of deals to be had in new build. There are many advantages which I have actually covered in my ebook for my followers. You know what I'm talking about. Taking advantage of new build, there are maintenance and 12 months liability period for the developers. There are lots of advantages over older properties, and potentially they have better deals, I reckon. Do you see that?
I could sit and sing the praises of new builds all day. From a lending perspective, so you as an investor, as a borrower, there are probably more benefits to a new build than there are existing properties.
Let's do 80%.
Some banks will do it with 15, so 85%. So 15% deposits for investors with some banks. The interest deductibility, so a new build properties are interest deductible, whereas existing properties and that is being phased back in. Depending on the region, I guess you could argue that the rents on new builds you can kind of attract a bit of a higher rent, because a lot of the new builds are going up in those kind of suburban areas where they're attracting young professionals who are willing to pay a bit more. We're seeing new builds in Auckland renting for sort of $700 a week, and you're only paying $720 to buy it. There is also a lot of stock on the market at the moment that was, it might be that there's only 1 or 2 units of a development that's left that hasn't been sold, and the developers are just willing to let that go.
Developer clearance.
Exactly, because they just want to wrap that project up, move on to the next one. You need to have a certain amount of pre-sales before you can complete your...
You're getting me excited.
So we're definitely seeing a lot of developments of maybe sort of 50, 60 houses, where there's just a few that are left that haven't sold, and there's some real bargains out there. We're looking at a development in Henderson, and some of them are going for $520.
I know, I've seen them. I think it's the same development. Okay, Laura, with so many opportunities now in the marketplace, and for someone who's looking at taking advantage of this great timing to add some properties to their portfolio, what is your advice for them?
I would say get rid of the emotional attachment. If you're buying an investment property, it doesn't have to be your dream home in an area or location that makes sense to you. If the numbers make sense, if you can find it for a really good purchase price and a good rental yield, that's more important than, do I want to live in this house? Does it have the garden that I want? Is it near the train line that I use to get to work? None of that matters. you have to look at it from more of a business perspective
Yes.
and do the numbers make sense.